Okay, I'm gonna be really transparent with you, Nelson. Why do you get nervous when we do podcasts together?
I don't know. I feel like I'm on the spot. I'm more on the spot with you than my Twitter/YouTube community. Like, I'm already like used to it. Okay, that's why. Because I don't podcast as much as I live stream.
Is it because it's just audio? Or is it because of me? Because I notice you're more comfortable when you talk to people other than me, even though we've known each other.
Over 16 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make you nervous?
Yes, you do.
Why?
Because I feel like I'm on the spot with you. Like if I say something awkward, you give me these faces.
That's just my face.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
I didn't even mean it, but okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
No, I don't make. Do I make faces really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I think it's because I don't hide my feelings very well.
Yeah, you're very blunt.
I've been told that before. I used to be really bad when I was a kid, and my parents had to sit me down. And it didn't make sense to me because they always told me to tell the truth. So then when I would be blunt, they're like, why do you say that? I'm all, because I'm not lying. Like you told me to tell the truth, so I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
And they're like, but you have to be a little bit nice about it. And I didn't understand as a kid.
Yeah.
I guess. I kind of wish my parents didn't tell me that, though.
Why?
Because I would be more honest.
Oh.
Because now I'm more like, I don't know if you guys relate, or you, Nelson, even though there's like no audience here. You always have to be nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you want to be honest at the same time. But it's like that nice middle ground of being tactful. Now you're giving me looks.
I'm not giving you
You're
looks.
frowning. Are you doing that on purpose?
No.
Okay, well, what we wanted to talk about today was
Process.
process.
Okay, whatever.
Especially in the creative spectrum, I like to observe people, and especially online. And I feel like people are secretive when it comes to their process.
Okay.
Well, don't you see that too?
Most people like to hide. It's because a lot of people like to hide their failures.
But that's the whole point. Like that's the whole
Yeah.
point of having a process.
Yeah.
Is that you're not gonna get it the first time. And
Yeah.
I guess that's a form of showing. They feel like it's showing some form of weakness.
Yeah, but it's not.
not.
It's showing. It's the exact opposite. I guess we can drill into this more. Like why people are scared to show their process. Because I can talk all about this, or do you want to just go general?
No, you can go into it. I'm
Okay.
interested. You got me hooked.
Oh, okay. Yay.
I'm interested.
All right. Well, the whole form of weakness of like, oh, I don't want to fail. It's because this whole glamour of everything in every industry, but we'll talk about design because this is more of a design developer podcast. It's you see it on Dribble, Behance, and everything. Everything's so perfect, pixel perfect. That is what we keep telling ourselves. And as I learned throughout this, throughout my career, there's no such thing as pixel perfect. You know, I mean, if you show a pixel perfect, high fidelity design, that is not going to be the same thing that you'll see once it's developed on a website.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the same thing that's developed when you see it on a phone. There's no such thing as pixel perfect.
I really had to let that go when I started getting into web design.
Yeah.
Because as a print designer, sorry, my head's itchy. I'm just describing it because there's no camera. It's my left side of my head that I'm scratching.
All right, go on.
Anyway, so with being a print designer, I think with being art school, we were conditioned to make sure everything was pixel perfect. Like we would have critiques in class, and our teachers would be like, "That's off 2 clicks," and you're just like, "Seriously, seriously."
Yeah.
And or like the kerning. Oh, it needs to be pushed over a little bit. Your kerning's off between the L and the M. Like really. And so then you to kind of get away from that, you would, you know, be so detailed when it came to your work.
Yeah.
And then when, you know,
It makes sense for the print world.
for the print world because it's static.
Yeah, it's static. You have one size canvas and that's it.
And then, you know, if you have a typo,
Yeah.
there you go. You have a 5,000 copies of the typo.
Yeah.
But with web, I remember you were teaching me.
And you were getting so frustrated.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it was frustrating. I'm like, why is it when it would scale down to mobile? I would ask them, well, can't I fix that? There's a line break. There's an orphan. And he's like, there's no such thing as type crimes, Jess, in web because everything's scalable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. As a control freak, back then, it's like, no, I don't believe that. I want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
And then it just caused more stress.
Yeah, because in responsive web design, it's supposed to be fluid. It's like you'll never know what size screen, or for the print people, what size canvas your user is viewing it on. So you will have a widow, you will have an orphan, you will have some type crimes, you will have things that are not pixel perfect. But if you step out and look at the world for what it is, the world is not perfect. And that's what makes it perfect. That whole paradox I keep telling myself, it's so strange. And when people are scared to show their process, it makes me say, no, be more real. Show that you fail. I mean, yesterday, I thought I figured out how to do this automation on Webflow and Zapier, and I did a live stream. Comes to show, it failed. Like, I named my stream Fail Stream, so that way people who are watching it know what they're getting into. It didn't work, and still, the live audience who are watching, I asked them, hey, should I just delete this stream when it's done, or should I keep it up? And people are like, keep it up, because failing is just as important as succeeding. And so that's what I want to give to the design developer world is, please, show your process. Even if it's a fail, show people that you're learning. It makes you more real.
And I think too, like, especially like on the business side, on a business aspect, prospective clients want to see your process. I think they want to understand what they're getting themselves into, and you're setting that expectation by showing the process and the value that you're offering. I think that's important. But I really think to go back to being a perfectionist, I think it really has to do with social media.
Yes, yes.
Social media really drove that home, you know, where everything has to be for the gram,
Yeah.
filtered.
Yeah.
It's illusions, Michael.
Illusions. Well, that's what I was saying about Behance and Dribble too. I mean, all the people who get the most likes and comments and whatnot are
mean
things.
anything.
It doesn't mean anything, and they're getting so many likes and everything, and they're getting the most views, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
What I care more about is what did you fail at and what did you learn? That's more important.
How did you get past it?
Exactly. And whenever I have a guest on my stream, I always ask that. I'm more interested in where did you fail? Where's the lowest part of your career and how did you get through it? Because that means more to me than, oh, you're so quote unquote successful. You're the art director of this big agency. Congrats. And it's like, to me, it's like, I don't care what your title is, but I care more about what you struggled through and how can you teach me that struggle? Like, what did you go through? And like, I love that story, you know? I mean, you go in any industry, like movies. After watching a movie, I'm more interested than the behind the scenes footage. And seeing all the goofy green screen or people wearing like the ping pong balls in a black suit, like what's that movie with the dragon in Lord of the Rings? Yeah, I forget.
With Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Cumberbatch, and how Cumberbatch was acting in a warehouse as a dragon on all fours, and how he's still able to perform super good. And like there's no CG. That to me, that's more amazing than the final film.
Well, not just that, it's because you have a better appreciation for the final product.
Yes.
No, you don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
You understand how much time it took behind it, and I think that's the value part.
Yep, that's where the value is. And that's why when people are like, why do you want to go to the movies and pay so much money to watch a movie? Why don't you just wait for it to stream or something like that? I'm like, I'm giving money to art. Well, that's how I feel. Like, there's so much that happens behind the scene that I will throw money there because I appreciate that work.
Totally. But I think it's funny though that I like when movies do that and they do the behind the scenes. But like to go back to the beginning, I feel like people want to be secretive about the process when in reality, Nelson pushing the mic closer to my face. When in reality, everyone has a similar process.
Yeah.
You know? We're not really secret to it. Like, sure, like the general high level process is the same, but like the interesting part is everyone has their own little way of doing things. And so it's like, how do you get there? What's their mind thinking, you know?
Yeah.
And like you said, what's the problems they're faced with and how do they solve it?
Yeah. Carl Sagan quote, I always go to space. Yeah, that's me. But the beauty of a living thing is not the atoms that go into it, but the way that the atoms are put together. And so if you think about it, all these processes, all these ideas, they're all the same. Everyone does the same exact process. It's just the little tweaks that they do during the process is what matters. And so none of this is new.
Yeah. And there's here's the beautiful thing about process. While you're in it, there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
You know?
If you think it's the wrong answer and it fails, that's just another learning opportunity. Yeah.
And when you watch other people's processes, you also think, oh, I never thought of doing it that way.
Yeah.
Maybe that will help me with my streamlining my things.
Yeah.
And then also it forces you to think a different way.
Yeah.
You know, more open-minded.
Yeah. I mean, you're listening to Michelle Obama's podcast, and that's the same thing. You're listening to her process, and you're like, maybe I'll do it this kind of way. You're reading the President Obama's book, and you're reading this other book. What is it?
Oh gosh, it's escaping me. I don't have it with me right now. It's something to the effect of how one talks to themselves, and it's the power of positive thinking. And when you think negatively, especially because we subconsciously, you know, if you're so used to thinking negatively, you're going to subconsciously do it. And so then you're eventually going to start being negative. So the idea is it's kind of like the law of attraction, that you think positive and then more positivity you'll be a more positive person, and then more positive things will come to you.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole mindset of before you can even, you know, fix your work or your life, you need to first fix yourself, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So it's pretty impactful.
And so you're reading and listening to all these things about different processes, about different things, but if you boil it down to its essence, it's just the same thing over and over, told in different ways, and it's up to you to tweak whatever your own process is based on what you learn. And so this is not just a design developer type of thing, it's just a human thing to show your process and be vulnerable. But we're taught, you know, there's a lot of things in society that are taught, like, don't show your failures, like the whole, you know, brush it off, you know, or like rub some dirt on it or something like that when you fall down, like, don't ask for help. That's the part that gets me, like, frustrated or angry when people say that, because it's like when people give a solution to a problem that someone's having in their process or in their life, and that person who's giving the solution hasn't lived that other person's life or knows what they're going through, and they just give a quick solution, rub some dirt on it, or just smile, it's okay, you'll be fine. That kind of stuff, that gets me angry, because it's like, you don't you don't know what their process is. You don't know what their life is. Let them fail, and they will learn. And encourage them to ask for help. And so when you're showing off your process, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people think, especially with the whole Instagram thing where everything's perfect. No, don't ask for help, because then
You're weak.
your profile will look weak.
Yeah. What was it? It escaped me. Dang it. Damn my mommy brain, Nelson.
It's okay. You want to ask for help?
I would if I could remember what.
But what I like now is you're posting more process videos on your Instagram.
Yeah. And I was like that though. I didn't like to ask people for help because that's how I was raised. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's a
human thing. It's across every culture.
But and it's also a pride thing.
Yeah.
I guess that if you want to do it right, you have to do it yourself, kind of deal. That statement's not true, you know.
I'm learning that.
And it's hard, but then you realize like you do need help, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's that whole, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, then you go with a team. And like people think, oh, that superstar, pop star, whatever, got to where they are right now by themselves. No, they didn't. That movie director got there by themselves. No, they didn't. No one got anywhere by themselves. Everyone started the same way, learned to crawl, and learned from so many different people to get to where they are. And no one got to where they are by themselves. And if you think they do, if you think they did, then change your mind. Because like for you, the listener, if you think you got to where you are by yourself, think of all the people who helped raise you as a kid, who helped teach you what you learned, all the people who put content on YouTube, on podcasts and books and everything else that's out there in the world. Those are people who have helped you, either directly or indirectly. And so you can never say, I got here on my own.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, now I remember.
Yay!
So, as a designer, you know, I love telling stories through visual design, and so keep moving the mic towards my face.
Because the levels aren't even.
Should
but go on.
I put my face on this?
No, just go.
Is it even clean?
Maybe.
And so, so as a person with visual design, I always like to tell stories. And so I remember watching Mad Men, like I think it was like the first or second season. And with me, I kind of have to do a lot of research, and then I have to sit on it and let it marinate in my head. And so maybe, I don't know, I like to say it's part of my process, but I like to procrastinate on it. And I always tell myself, oh, it's marinating, when really it's more of an avoidance at this point. But then when watching Mad Men, I don't know if you guys can relate, but he what he ends up doing is Don Draper, he sleeps, he goes out, watches movies, trying to figure out an idea, he sleeps with his mistress. So I'm watching it and I'm like, I am Don Draper.
You have a mistress?
No. I have ideas that are running in my head, but I can't seem to focus them in. So the only way to really have them line up
Is to watch the ground.
is to sleep. Like look at the back of my eyelids, you know, or like to just really not think about it. And it's pretty funny when you do procrastinate on it, because you'll be randomly like in the shower, or you'll be doing groceries, and this idea will pop in your head. And it's like this idea that it's like, you know, ideas that kind of drift away if you don't grab onto it. It's like that, like, oh my gosh, I need to write it down, or I need to draw it out because it's gonna leave me if I don't do it right now. And I think that's really interesting. That you kind of, do you do that?
Oh yeah, I'm actually working on a client project right now, and there's this one interaction that I'm trying to figure out, and it's like I've been procrastinating on. I've been doing all the other tasks to get the site done, and then now I'm at that point where like, okay, this is the only task left.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go to it. What's on Twitter?
And then for some reason, like when you're about to start, you get really nervous.
Yep.
And then you might have to
All
take a
the
potty
time.
break before you
All the time.
even start. And then the worst is when you're like, all right, I got through my avoidance, my procrastination. I got through my potty break. I'm ready to start. Oh no, Nova woke up from her nap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something came up.
And so you blame yourself, like, why didn't I just start working? Why did I?
Starting is always the hardest part, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, this is what I was gonna work on that task right before this podcast, but you came in the room like, hey, let's record a podcast. I'm like, but I'm just okay, fine.
it's that warm up, you know?
Okay.
That keeps.
It's an hour. It's an hour-long boot sequence. Okay.
Hey, it's like when you update your Mac OS. You know?
Oh, and it takes an hour. It's like, oh, okay. Pro tip: never update your Mac firmware or OS right before you start working, because it'll take an hour.
Right. I know you do this too, where you're working on a website, I'm working on a logo or a website design, and you and me have like YouTube or like a movie on playing at the same time, because you're kind of like, you need to kind of have that distraction.
Background noise.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like,
I don't know how you can watch or just listen to shows.
oh, yeah.
And not I understand music, but like shows that actually have plots and dialogue, and I'm like, how do you even?
I used to be really good at it when I was younger, but not anymore. I think it's because I have to compartmentalize so many things that I can't do that anymore. Like in high school, I used to watch like CSI while studying for finals. But what I do now is I get like a really long show like the X-Files, and it's a series I've already watched.
Okay.
And I'll pick like one of my favorite episodes and I'll have it playing in the background while I'm working. But it really depends on the test. Like if like I can't watch a show and prep print files at the same time, because that's so detail oriented. But if I'm researching or if I'm just working on initial mock-ups for logos, then I can have it, because then it's kind of like you're not really thinking about it, but you are thinking about it sequence. So I think that's it. I think it's really funny. But what you do that drives me nuts is that you blast EDM
Yes.
so loud when you're like developing, and I know you're in the zone when it's super loud and you're bobbing your head, and so I just leave you alone and I just close the door.
Yeah. It's like when the processes flow. When I get into the flow, oh my god, like it's just magic, coffee, music, and
What's in your
and no
coffee?
code.
What's in your coffee?
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny because you play EDM. I play Radiohead.
Yeah. Balance. I wonder what Nova's going to be into.
A mashup of EDM and sad music.
So lo-fi hip hop. Yeah.
Yes.
Lo-fi
Drake.
hip hop. Oh god, no.
But I think, it's just important to process. Show your work, people. Show your failures, and you know, what my mindset coach Tina Medina says. Trust in the process. Trust in the process. It's all part of your journey, right? And you know here's the awesome thing about processes, especially with design or even development. You know, you have this problem. You're trying to find a solution. The initial solution that you thought would work doesn't work. Keep everything in your process, because you might need it for another project, right? So just keep everything. I've learned so many times where I've had a really good idea and a really good composition, and it doesn't work out for this specific client, but later on I'll go back and actually use it for another client because it works with their concept. And then there's other times where I delete it because I think it's total crap, and then I want to go back to it, but I can't because I didn't save it. So sometimes my AI files for design could be like a gig of just bad ideas.
But that's what it takes. I mean, you know, even photographers, they take thousands of bad ones, and then they only give you 20 of the good ones, and you think, oh, this photographer is awesome, it's worth the money. But like, what you're actually paying for is the experience and the skill that that photographer has taken to find the good ones out of all the bad ones that he or she or they have taken. And so that's the same thing with us developers and designers. Developers, you code so many bad things, but the more you code, the more you realize a pattern of, oh, how can I simplify this? How can I make this better? How can I make the code cleaner? And that's where the money is. And lastly, for designers, you can have a 10 gig file of BS, but then once you give it to your client, they love it because you've simplified it to the point where it makes sense and it has their concept and it's telling their story in one logo or one design file, and the client's like, oh, I love it, it's beautiful. And that's what you're really getting paid for. That process.
Yeah. I love process.
Yeah, we got deep.
Hashtag deep.
Yeah, hashtag deep. But 26 minutes. You want to end it?
Yeah, I think that was a good one.
Yeah, high five. Okay.
Yeah.
What should we talk about next time? I don't know. Let's not plan it. Because every time we plan it, we fail.
Yeah, we do.
This one, you just said you're listening to Obama podcast and you're like, hey, let's do a podcast.
Yeah, and not just that we actually had time. I know you and me have to work after this, but like, it's just 30 minutes out of our day. Why not?
Yeah.
And I noticed, like when we plan it, we put it in our calendar. It's a really forced podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like cringy.
Very.
It's not us.
Yeah.
And then this one, that's why I was like, let's just do it. And you're like, I was actually happy that you're like, okay. Even though you were quote unquote warming up.
Yeah. So right after this, I got to get back to that developer mindset and fix it.
It's like almost 10. It's probably going to take me an hour before I start actually working.
Okay. Did you already take the potty break?
Yes.
Okay.
My coffee.
All right.
Probably have to take another potty break before 11.
Jeez. All right. Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, friends. This is what, episode
I don't know. We'll just call this 1.
4, 5, 3. I don't know.
Something.
But thanks for checking in on and listening to us blab.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love you. Show your process. Be badass.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.